Paul, you've been going over a few things this morning. You want to elaborate on what's most important for you, what's going through your mind right now?
Well, we were discussing the phenomena of archetypes. And what is an archetype? And I'll try to explain what I think it is. It's not an easy explanation, but an archetype originates in the unconscious. And it contains motifs, themes, stories, myths, explanations for biological phenomena that has to do with the body, that has to do with the unconscious mind, and it gives meaning and substance to existence. It helps us explain various phenomena. In intensive psychotherapy, with the methods that we use, we can peel away the layers of the unconscious, and I think we gain access to a part of the brain where I think the archetypes are contained. Now, if the brain becomes this kind of repository for these physiological phenomena, we will look for symbols, we will look for images, and these symbols and images seem to have some kind of universal application. In other words, they're common to most groups of people, most societies, most cultures. Let me see if I can give a few examples. These may not be good examples, but they're examples. Let's take the God concept. Out of the Hebrew experience, we have the Old Testament and the creation story. And the creation story is based upon the societies as they existed in those former days. And the creation story is basically consists of a God who is male. And he is the supreme creator, the number one alone. And he has a desire to create. This is the theme, the desire to create, and it comes from a male deity. In essence, what he does is he creates himself in the form of a man called Adam, out of the earth. The story gets a little complicated, and then he finds out that he's lonesome. This is the creation story. He finds out that he's lonesome, and the supreme deity puts him to sleep. He anesthetizes him, and out of the male body comes the female. And you can see in that theme, in that archetype, how the ancients try to explain the social setups of a growing agricultural society. The theme is there is a garden, and man and woman are the final creation of that garden. And the Garden of Eden is a kind of a paradise. It's a psychological place where everything is innocent, pure, it's also divine and godly, and then it gets corrupted by an evil influence from some outside source who tends to treacherously penetrate the Garden of Eden. So we have this very elaborate story that tries to explain our existence. It gives meaning to our existence, and we need to understand that an archetype is a very cosmic explanation. It's very flowery. It uses elements of beauty and transcendence. And it takes us out of our ordinary sense of being and transports us to a whole other world. And that typical archetype, the archetype of other worlds. And what I'm suggesting is that it's not that these things are strictly mythological, meaning unreal, that they have an existence of their own, and they're based in the very ground of our being. And what does that ground of our being mean? It means that there's kind of like a substrate, a level of existence where all human beings share a similar sense of consciousness. We all have fears, we all have appetites, we all have desires, we all have impulses and thoughts. So there's a common sharing of a pool, a universe of consciousness that seems to have its roots in the biological nature of the brain. Okay, I hope that helps explain what a theme might be. Let me just give you a little history about the discovery of that level of consciousness, that level of the brain, and its relationship with the very ground of our being. Carl Jung was a disciple and a student of Sigmund Freud, and I think they had a basic disagreement. Jung postulated that there was a level of consciousness underneath the biographical area that Freud postulated. Biographical meaning the events of your life and how your own personal life from early childhood on affects your life later on. In the process of doing therapy, and you're doing it in my own practice, when I've done in-depth probes into people's deep unconscious, especially when I'm dealing with areas of confusion and pain and repression, the first thing you come across is biographical material. The person's life, the events that took place in their lives that shaped their personalities and in a sense almost programmed their existence. But however, as we went deeper and deeper with these very powerful techniques, and we started to see transformation and healing taking place, we uncovered this archetypal level, this level of very powerful themes of beauty and harmony and story and mythology and profound explanations for origins. And it goes beyond time and space. In other words, the archetypal realm of the unconscious, of the brain, is not bound by any geographical time limits or space limits. They seem to have a timeless quality. They seem to transcend history. When you gain access to deep into the brain, I'm not only talking about just getting access to those areas of the brain where you can transform yourself from the inside out. This is about transcendence. This is about going beyond the beyond, wherever your beyond levels are. If you're doing any kind of self-discovery and you're trying to search for the deepest parts of yourself, part of your journey is to find your bliss, to follow your ecstasy, to be able to transcend and go beyond your own self-imposed or life limits, to reach new levels of consciousness and awareness. And that requires overcoming repression, loosening up a sense of self, a sense of feeling, a sense of spirit. And we do that with extremely powerful techniques. And the deep feeling method, in a way, uncovers this part of the self that is absolutely miraculous. And you can't explain the material that's uncovered according to ordinary ego consciousness. We're entering into a quantum world. It's not a world of tangible things. It's a world of spirit. It's a world of out here somewhere. It has no limitations. It has infinite possibilities. And it can totally transform your life from the inside out. It's a true spiritual journey, and we share it with every other human being, at least the potentials, the possibilities for it. And every culture has their own way of expressing these archetypal levels. And I'll get into specifics at some point in the future. Bye-bye.